Good.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawm al-qiyamah. Alhamdulillah, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have a full schedule ahead of us today, so I'm not going to take too much time. First, I'd like to thank Master Mukman for having us here as part of 40 Hadith Intensive. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man la yashkuru nas, la yashkuru Allah." If whoever haven't thanked the people, then they haven't really thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, Imam Naeem, may Allah preserve him, our brother genius, alhamdulillah, he really put this together a few months ago as a program and one that anticipate getting a lot of background. So I just wanted to take this moment this morning, to just remind us of how important it is what we're doing. And, gathering knowledge and traveling for knowledge is something very important. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in the hadith, that he said, "Man kharaja fi talbi ilm, wa huwa fi sabilillah hatta yarji." Whoever travels in search of knowledge, seeking knowledge, he is in the path of Allah until he returns. So seeking knowledge is something that has some difficulty, and from my recollection, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this phrase in the Quran, fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah is usually talking about two categories: either when you're spending your wealth or you're fighting it, you're fighting in war. So seeking knowledge has that same kind of connotation. Going out, difficulty seeking knowledge, having to memorize, review your lessons, recall your lessons, and then ultimately teaching the lessons. All of these things can be difficult, especially if, many of us are converts to Islam, and we might not have a background of this traditional training, then we might not even have a background from where we come from of this education. You know. So and then when you come in the base level, you have to learn stuff that you have to know, you have to actualize. And so you got to come in, if you're coming in getting conditioned, knowing necessary knowledge, knowing the proofs, knowing the basic proofs in general, inshallah, and that can be a painstaking task. So the Prophet Sallallahu is already, gearing us to getting ready to prepare ourselves for seeking knowledge and the difficulty that it entails. And alhamdulillah for this program, we've had to travel, many of us had to come from far distances. We have a brother that came from Bermuda, mashallah. We had the African American Summit. We had a brother that came all the way from France. Yeah. France, mashallah. Just to come and sit in these gatherings that maybe we don't understand the significance of them, especially when we don't attend and we think we have something else that's important. So peaceability is making plans, making proper intention, renewing intention, always trying to be ready to go to the next level, inshallah. And for this event, many of us had to travel. There's a hadith for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Suffer, fatgun min al-adab." Said that traveling is from a portion of punishment. And you all know how difficult it is to travel. Getting prepared. You know, uh, we got to get ready months in advance, saving up money, going through the hardships and the difficulties of traveling, even if it's a few hours away. Having to stop, even in these modern times with all these conveniences, traveling can be a difficult. If you have children, families, or you ever travel with any elders, you know how difficult it can be. Many times us as able-bodied men, we can travel, we can move, no problem. If you got a wife and kids or somebody, you make more stops than you wanted to make. The time that you set out, turns into a few more hours, budget that you set, blown already, and so many difficulties of traveling, but all of it is for a purpose. just think about all of the difficulties we had to undergo to travel there. But if it's part of the punishment, as the hadith says, a portion of it, then, alhamdulillah, we want to chalk it up because, as believers, any kind of punishment that we may be subjected to, we definitely want it in this dunya. We definitely want it in this dunya. So after a while, alhamdulillah. So alhamdulillah, we have one of our brothers on this trip. His car broke down on the way. You can imagine how difficult that is. So with all of the difficulties we go through, this program is going to be very beneficial. So try to exert ourselves. And, Shaitan is always on top of us. We were talking before we got here, even yesterday. I was talking to Imam Naeem asked me to do this talk at the budget. Shaitan is like, way travel yet. Man, this is like, when you travel, it's like a vacate, man. And I ain't really come to talk, but, man told me so about getting up, getting out. It's a little difficult, but, alhamdulillah, it gets easier. So all of this is for a divine purpose for us, to be in each other's company. Something that's very necessary these days for everybody, distracted and disconnected, on their social media platforms, with these devices. It's not hard to walk around on any given day and somebody, see people on the streets walking around looking at their phone. I often, like, when I'm on the block, I test people. Yo, pay attention. A lot of people are not paying attention. These things that become a fitness for a lot. Of people. So us to have this intimate gathering of Vatican knowledge, engage each other in person, getting the blessings from each other's presence is a great deal. It's a great thing. And along with subhanahu wa ta'ala, with all of the difficulties that we may encounter, traveling and seeking knowledge, going through the hardships and memorizing it, being put on the spot by Imam Amin and stuff he just told us and he asked us what did he say when nobody wants to answer and it's not out of humility we just didn't we just didn't get it. And he always says repetition that's better. So and all of those are difficult things that we have to encounter, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always makes a way out. She says in the Quran, يَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ عُسْرٍ يُسْرًا. After difficulty, Allah will make for you ease. In another part of the Quran, He mentions, one hardship and two eases. إِنَّمَا مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا وَإِنَّمَا الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. So ease or difficulty is the object of ease. So you got to go through difficult times. You got to go through hard circumstances sometimes, and Allah who's dependent with the honor on the other side of those difficulties, He has ease for us. So, and we'll see this play out today and tomorrow as all of the stuff that we prepared, registered ahead of time, put our budget together, paid attention to come to seek knowledge for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It'll get easier as we progress, inshallah. We ask Allah to make it easy for us. So, when you think about the 40 Hadith, it's one of the most magnificent books in Islam. We have in our area, we have a new Shahada kit we give out. So we have a couple books in there. One of them is the 40 Hadith. It's easy to read. Hadiths are very, I won't say simple, like simple, but easy to understand. Like a new Shahada can get a lot of barakah out of reading those basic Hadiths and 40 Hadith. And now we are having an intense Hadith session over a weekend, discussing these Hadiths in detail and getting the barakah from our teacher, Imam Amin, discussing the commentary and us reading them together, inshallah, that has immense benefit. So we'll leave it this weekend, inshallah, refreshed, having these hadiths in our recent memory, being able to work by them, inshallah, getting that isnad. It's not difficult. us to just, all of us got a collection of 40 ID lying around somewhere. Now, we might have a couple, I'm pretty sure, so they easy to pick up, but, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many of the ulama of the past, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show the barakah that He gave to them by their works being continuous. So, when you, as Imam Amin mentioned yesterday, there are many collections of 40 hadith that scholars have collected. When you say the 40 hadith, you already know it's Imam Nawawi. That's a special trait that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a special gift He gave to Imam Nawawi. And then this knowledge is very important, this intensive, because it helps us to grow in our knowledge and help us to grow in our practice. Often think of this ayah from the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. It is only those from Allah's slaves that fear Him are the ulama. If you read this sentence just as it is, you would think that it is only the ulama who have the capacity to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this word ulama here doesn't mean like what we know as scholars, like the great scholars. It is those people who fear Allah because of the knowledge that they have, as opposed to ignorance, not knowing. And they know what they're supposed to know and they act on it, then that and increases fear. It increases awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It increases reverence. So many of the topics that we talk about on our platform is going to be revolving around the three and the 3453 family. You all know what the three stand for, right? We got any 3453 affiliates here? We don't know. The 3453. We'll do that. We're not going to take up because we'll be talking all day. But the 3453 is a code that we use as a family. And then the three represents the hadith for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who talks about Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. So Islam is the foundation, Iman is the foundation of faith, and Ihsan is the spiritual aspect. So when you think about this ayah we just mentioned, that there has to be an element of having khushu', having reverence for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you learn knowledge. So knowledge is supposed to translate into action. It's supposed to transform your heart. So many times, you find people who know stuff and they're even like, yeah, I know that, and almost like you can't tell me because I already know. But being from the ulama, we might not reach that level of ulama, but we can reach a level that what we know and what we convey and what we practice and what we manifest, we acknowledge in that particular aspect. So if we grow in fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not fear as being scared that we stay away, fear and reverence that brings us closer to Him. If we grow in purification, we grow in muhasabah, taking assessment of ourselves. If we grow in muraqabah, having nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taking account of ourselves, then that is an example of the knowledge that we know. So even if we know a little bit, even if we think that the 40 hadith is easy, we can read through it. Why didn't we get anything more complex? Sometimes we think, I've been reading hadith, I've been Muslim such and such, But this session of barakah is so great, inshallah, that we want to leave out of here today. This weekend, that giving us a more healthy reverence for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we read the words of His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had a discussion about them, and then the added benefits of sitting with each other and getting that commentary is going to be very beneficial. And as us as a community, I think, Imam Naeem is correct me if I'm wrong, but us as a community, we need more of this because we are the people who carry this banner of Islam, for other people who are scared to. We are the people who made Islam what it is, and we were the face of Islam. Other people were looking for the American dream. And we already knew that it was a nightmare. We experienced it. We still live it. We are the people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored us with this thing called Islam. It's a fair by us. And we took it and we put it on our back and we weren't afraid to show it. And all of us, we can tell we know from our own personal experiences how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala transformed our lives. And all we have to do is take a moment of reflection of where we came from. And many of us, we come from similar backgrounds. The stories vary a little bit, but we come from poverty, we come from despair, we come from dysfunction, we come from broken homes, we come from abuse, and along with Subhanahu wa ta'ala, with all of the stuff that we had to be subjected to, gave us the gift of La ilaha illallah. And in that La ilaha illallah is ma'rifah. So we become people who are knowledgeable because we had that recognition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who blessed us and honored us, and He chose us to choose Him. He chose us to choose Him. So, when we enter into Islam, it is not something that we really did on our own. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the eternal decree for us the ability to choose Him. And that's a favor because it doesn't do anything for Allah's majesty for us to worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power is not increased because we're sitting here and we're remembering Him and we're having a beneficial talk, inshallah. It doesn't affect Allah in the least. But what it does is to help us with our awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a little bit of knowledge that we learn and we implement and we practice and then we try to impart to people that we love and we care for. Then that is how we grow as people. We would be like in this ayat ulama, because we have learned this knowledge and we became those people who have a reverence, and it changed our attitude, it changed our approach to life. It changes how we deal with people. It changes the circumstances that we put ourselves in. It changes the environments that we put ourselves in. It changes the way we talk. We all come from similar backgrounds. You know how beautiful it is to know somebody who was like, we know some guys that was in the street heavy, cold killers, man. Like, I'm not talking about the ones that shoot with their eyes closed, or the ones who they were only monsters when they were intoxicated. I'm talking about guys that would do stuff to you and don't lose a blink of sleep. And these brothers became Muslim. And now, and we met someone, they were impactful for us in the sense that, you know them from how their lives were, and then you see this brother not even using cuss words. You all know people like that? Like, wait a minute, man. What is it about this religion that this brother here, if this changed his life, and many of us, we were in bad places, and we told our parents or our mothers, that became a Muslim. They were afraid for us. Somebody was telling us this story the other day. One of our elders. Oh yeah, it was one of the elders. He was saying how he went to college, and this was in the '70s, and he told his mom he was a Muslim. She said, "Boy, the devil that got older." Right? But she didn't know. So that's from, being from the ulama, the people who know, as opposed to people who are not aware, just ignorant. So not to say nothing about somebody's mom, but that was an ignorant statement. She didn't know what Islam was until she saw the effects on her son. How it changed, how everything, how we dress, how we purify ourselves, how we eat, how we even deal with our mothers, and fathers. And so that's when they be like, wow, okay, well, I don't believe in it, but it's done wonders for him. And that's part of learning knowledge. Every time that we have a session of knowledge, we're reminding ourselves of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the statements of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is supposed to be an increase in khushu', increase in reverence for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it should provoke us to act and do something more than what we're doing. So the believer never be in a comfort zone too much, because we always striving, we're always going harder, we're always trying to do the next thing, we're always thinking about ways to improve and to help our fellow brothers and sisters in Islam, and ultimately doing our lives with a pure intention that we will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He is pleased with us and we are pleased with Him. So these are just a few reminders that I want to say to you all as we go through this course today. It's already been difficult for us getting here. For some of us, and we go through the day. We have moments that we didn't get proper sleep, and we find ourselves nodding off. And, somebody be calling us. Brothers who are married. What? How's it going? The interrogation, and then it's like if you ain't responding right, they think it's something else, and you just listen to class. this stuff could have, you could have said this before I left, and all those kind of things, and all those things that we will experience, in the gathering. But as it unfolds, we have this gratified being together with each other's presence. Alhamdulillah, for a few of the occasions that we've had, traveling around, a few brothers and sisters have traveled with us. Alhamdulillah, we appreciate all of you who have come here, take the time out of your schedule. For some it's difficult; they have to take off work, and their regular schedule has been interrupted. But they have taken the sacrifice to pursue some sacred knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you all. So I'll end there because we already got brothers going to sleep. Alhamdulillah. So as I said in the beginning, I didn't want to take too much time just to give us a reminder. Make sure that we set our need at, benefit from this knowledge from Imam Faheem. Myself, I'm just what they call that, a fixture. Just somebody that uses it for promo purposes. They try to get paid off my name. So when you get paid, my name don't mean nothing. But alhamdulillah, as we go through this day, inshallah, just keep, that we're doing this for a bigger purpose, that so we become people who are becoming closer to Allah. And this is the means, and this is the thing to do it. And when we keep that in mind, then we're happy to, all of the stuff that we went through in traveling and all of the hardships and difficulties. And, some of us, we got to go back home and then it's right back to the same old bumpy grind. Like, then we'll realize this is a beautiful guy. Even if I didn't get a lot of sleep, I was, tasked with studying and memorizing and being embarrassed in the gathering, asking questions and, alhamdulillah, man, I mean, it's not one of them teachers that point people out, but he will. I wouldn't put it past him, And, but all of that, once we leave, like, man, it's a beneficial gathering, and we hope that will be the outcome. We ask Allah to give us a good outcome to this gathering. So I'll stop there and look forward to a beneficial day, packed with knowledge, wisdom, brotherhood, and sisterhood, love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan, Imam. I just want to remind everyone that the first part of our schedule is moved up an hour earlier. So breakfast is at about 7 o'clock. If it's a little late, please excuse everybody. We just, we did that on the fly yesterday because of the MANA online conference meeting. So breakfast, inshallah, will start at about 7 o'clock. And the first session will start at 9 o'clock, inshallah. And it'll end at 11 instead of 8 to 12 like we originally. But after that, everything else will be on the same schedule that you see on the flyer, inshallah. And inshallah, before the first session starts, everyone will have a booklet, inshallah, just with some advertisements. There's also a page with our QR code so you could donate. And also there's a page on there explaining the 3453 that. Inshallah. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
This is not a question. We're done.